If you're looking for a house or have been looking for a house, the long-term housing cycle chart might help you decide when to buy. John Burns Research and Consulting, I think, did a great job on their housing cycle chart. Not only do they have the housing cycle, but they have cities where they think they are at in the cycle. Some people say the housing cycle is 18 years, so if you look at this, it takes a long time to get around this cycle. If you started looking for a house down here in the growing cycle, it could be quite confusing, especially when we were getting to the top and they had people bidding $100,000 over asking price with multiple offers. And you may ask yourself, why is this happening? Little did you know you were at the top of the cycle. And if you haven't bought yet and you're still looking, take in consideration, once you get down into this area, this bottoming or falling, you're going to be able to get a lot more house for your money. I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and I agree with this chart. A few years ago, you'd get an alert from Redfin that a house just came on the market. And as you drove up to the house, you'd see all these cars parked outside, and you were wondering what was going on. There was other people out there with their real estate agents, all trying to bid on the house. It was absolutely amazing. But we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing houses set on the market longer. And if we do have a downturn, this slowing and falling and bottoming is going to come pretty quick. I've done other videos on this. If you look at the Federal Reserve's website, they set monetary policy for the United States. And if you'll notice these gray lines, these are recessions. And you can see they happen approximately every 10 years. But as you can see, they normally happen after a tightening cycle. When the Federal Reserve starts raising interest rates, you can see right here they're raising interest rates, then we'll have a downturn. So when they're raising interest rates, what they're trying to do is slow the economy down. They feel like it's gotten too hot. There's too much money in the system, and they're trying to tighten. And you can see right here they're tightening, and this means they're raising interest rates. And then you can see they'll start cutting into a recession. And it's happened over and over again. Right here you can see they're tightening, they're raising interest rates, and there's a long lag, and then we'll have a downturn. This is where you have deflation and lower prices. Now let's zoom in here. This is what was called the Great Recession. You can see this large gray area here. This was the recession of, they call it the Great Recession of 2008. And you can see here the Federal Reserve was trying to tighten, so they started raising interest rates. And July 2006, they held the interest rates at almost 5.5, and then they held them for a year. So there's July 2006, and if we keep going over, you'll see July 2007. So they held interest rates for a year at a higher level, and there's a lag effect. So once they change monetary policy, it's like a huge ship. It takes a long time to take effect. But then they started getting a lot of unemployment, and then they started cutting rates again. So it took a year of holding interest rates high. Now, after the Great Recession, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates extraordinarily low for almost 10 years. It's quite amazing, which stimulates the economy with a lot of easy money for borrowing. And in 2022, Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve's chair, said, we've got to start tightening the economy. Houses have over doubled. Inflation is setting in. We've got to get this under control. And so what they started doing, just like back here in 2007, they started raising these interest rates, and they got them up to 5.33. So just about like they did over here in 2008. So it took a year for that lag effect to take hold. And if we look over here, it's been about 9 months since they've held the interest rates. So if everything happens the same way it did in the past, I would think we were going to start hearing of more and more layoffs. You've probably heard on the news all the tech layoffs that have been happening. I would think that we're going to start hearing more and more of those. And then at that point, the Federal Reserve will reverse course and start lowering interest rates, just like they did here. It took about a year and a half to get to the very bottom of the market. So going back to the housing cycle, you can see some plateauing, slowing, and falling. It looks like in the next 6 months to a year and a half, a lot of the housing market is going to be down here towards the bottom. We're going to be at the bottom of this long cycle, and we're normally not there too long. So if you're thinking about purchasing and you've been sitting on the sidelines saving your money, I would say 6 months to a year and a half, maybe 2 years, would be the perfect buying opportunity. And then after that, it's going to go straight back up, maybe even bigger. So it'd be the time to get in. before the next bubble starts. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you sitting on the sideline waiting to buy? Did you already buy?